It's ChuChu here, and this video is going to be a slight departure from my usual DIYs. We're gonna do a bit more of an intimate chat. Also, I'm kinda trying to keep it a little low-key today because A, I'm just recovering from having the COVID. I'm alive, I'm okay, I'm very grateful. And then B, Thomas is literally 6 inches away on the other side of this wall, and I am still not shameless enough to record when I know that there's someone who could potentially be listening. I promised myself that when I hit that arbitrary milestone of 1,000 subbies, I will do this more intimate one-on-one chat video so y'all can get to know a little bit more about me, what this channel is about, why I started it. First of all, just want to thank you all for helping me to reach 1,000 subbies. I honestly didn't think this moment would really come for a long time, but it's been very encouraging just to see that number. Some of the people who have seen my videos have mentioned that I seem very natural on camera and that this seems second nature to me. Oh man, you guys, I wish you would have seen me when I was trying to film my first real video for this channel. It was gonna be a little cooking video where I was making some Korean popcorn chicken for Thomas, and that boy came home from jujitsu that night to me crying in the kitchen with mascara running down my face because I am so melodramatic, and that whole process of filming, setting up lighting, figuring out the camera settings, and cooking at the same time aesthetically, it was a lot to juggle, and the food was getting set on fire, and I just thought there's no way in heck I can keep doing this. Stove was on, everything was on fire.
Don't forget the off-camera mental breakdown you had when I came home.
I had a mental breakdown when he came home. I never want to do this again.
No, you can only go up from here. But it's delicious.
So that was a very discouraging start, but the saving grace was at the start of this year, I made a vow to myself that for this 1 year, I would just make videos, just post them, and for that 1 year, I am not allowed to just throw in the towel like I've done many years in the past. The really funny part is that I haven't even really shared this channel among my friends. There's always some level of cringe when you're putting yourself out there, and for some reason that cringe feels a lot worse when you're putting yourself out in front of your friends and people who know you as opposed to strangers. When it comes to making content, there's a small aspect of reinventing yourself, testing out different styles, and it's a facet of you that maybe people in your immediate circle don't know and therefore might have opinions about and judgment for, and I am not at the point where I am above judgment. I'm still a little sensitive being. I have a lot of shame, and seeing as even just making a video is still very daunting to me. I want to remove any barrier and any little bits of resistance, and that involves keeping this project and this community kind of low-key and secret and tucked away for now. This is something that is driving Thomas crazy because he, being the supportive partner, just wants to share what I'm up to, and I'm still deeply uncomfortable with him sharing, so he's a little constipated. We've clashed many times on this. He just wants to share my stuff, and I just want to cry at the thought of that.
Filming, oops.
Test.
Tutorial.
How do you make sure you're looking at this rather than this?
Oh, I just don't even turn this towards me.
Oh, yeah. Then how do you know if you're looking fly?
you just flip it, check real quick, you're like, looking good.
So I mentioned back in my 1,000 subbies thank you post that I had actually posted my first video on this channel back in 2017, and that video turned out so shoddy. I believe I was out of focus for pretty much all of the talking head parts. I just remember posting it, and then within a couple hours, my overthinking brain immediately shut it down and took it out and aborted. I was like, abort, this is a piece of absolute crap, and I'm going to take this down, and it's never going to see the light of day. And what's funny is that that video took me 5 years of mustering up the courage to throw that together. And in the span of a couple hours, I called it quits and decided that, nah. I remember distinctly that in 2014, 10 years ago, that was when I had my first stint of seriously considering starting a YouTube channel. But back then, I already thought the market was way too saturated for a DIY girly like me to even penetrate. And I was also in schooling for engineering back then, so that was my primary. I was full on nerding out. YouTube would have been just a creative outlet. And back then, sadly, creative outlets were, in my mind, perceived as a bit of a time waster. It had no firm contribution to my future. And so again, I put a pin on it. But man, if I had only started then, a whole decade of trying this out, who knows what would have come of it. And so I remind myself of that when I'm in this present moment and I think maybe it's too late. YouTube's already too saturated. I don't know the point of me even starting a YouTube. I don't want to get 10 years down the line and look back at 2024, this moment, and think, if only I had just started. It's like the housing market. It's like real estate. You always think you've entered way too late and you kick yourself. You're like, dang, I should have bought a house back in 2007 when the house prices were at this point. But now it's all at this point and it's too late. Houses are too expensive, YouTube is too saturated, and then 5 years later, you're at this point, and you're looking back at this point, and you're thinking, dang, if only I had done it back at this point. So I just didn't want to get to 2030 and look back at 2024 and think, why, oh why didn't I just start then? So I'm really hoping that if any of you out there are listening to this and have this little itty bitty spark at the back of their mind for some secret particular passion that they've always wanted to start but have been putting off, either because it wasn't realistic or pragmatic for your future, or you're feeling shame about it, or you think you're gonna fail, all of these little negative self-talk pieces, I implore you just take the leap. So I was listening to this productivity expert called David Epstein, and he was talking about this thing called the zone of optimal push. And that's where you want to aim to get about 15 to 20% failure in the things that you're doing. Because if not, it means you're just keeping yourself in your comfort zone, which is fine, because I'm not someone who subscribes to the notion that everyone needs to be hustling and grinding out of their discomfort if that's not their purpose in life. But in my case, I know 60-year-old Nancy on her deathbed is gonna be like, I really should have just gone for it. I really should have just gone for it. And so this 1 year precious allotted time I've given myself is with the very sole purpose of making sure that doesn't happen. What made me really put in the grease this year to start was actually Thomas giving me the kick in the butt. Honestly, from the moment that we first started hanging out, a recurring comment that he made was, you should friggin' start a YouTube channel. And this was before I had even admitted to him that it was something I wanted to do for so long. Is this a face for video? I don't think so. This is a face for podcasting. This is so much talking for someone who's been having the COVID. Little ChuChu as a child growing up loved making videos.
Did it take it? I do not know. I think it did. Okay. Okay, let's go check.
And honestly, was pretty obnoxious and annoying about it to everyone around her.
Hi, Heather.
Hi, Nancy. How you doing?
I'm filming.
Good. That's Nancy from Vancouver. How are you?
It's an interview.
That's an interview. You told me it was celebrity talk show.
Hey guys, let's filming.
Wait, restart it.
Okay, what do I say? Let's say it together.
I also pretty much committed every single video editing faux pas known to man, just overloading it with effects and transitions and overlays. But it was something that I genuinely loved to do as soon as I had my hands on a computer and a camera. I would make things for my family, I'd make things for my friends, I'd make things for remembering trips. I remember back in my dorm room, I would just vlog for myself, record these little video diary entries to one day maybe play back to my kids. There was something beautiful about being able to take a snapshot in time and memorialize it. It was like bottling up a single phase of your life and then being able to whip it out in the future to get a whiff of what that time felt like.
Badgy!
You got to record these little time capsules. I thought it was so cool. And then in 2007, when YouTube came out, I was a chronic consumer of all the OGs back then. Oh man, Michelle Phan, Ray William Johnson, Strawberry 17, Close Encounters, Niga Higa. Back then, it really felt like a platform that was by the people, for the people. And since then, we're now seeing more of an emergence of YouTube being by businesses, whether that be like a small single person business or multi-member team business, for businesses, for advertising, for making profit. which gave me a lot of pause for wanting to enter into this world. At the end of the day, I am not a very business-minded person. I find all this strategic side to making videos pretty overwhelming. When you're really into this world of YouTube and want to take it seriously and start researching, you can go down a really deep rabbit hole of what will optimize your channel for all these vanity metrics like views and likes. There's all these studies from how to optimize your thumbnail, how to edit for the best audience retention, what time to post. I think over time, I will get to a place where I find all this strategy and the business side of this really fun to tinker with. But at the moment, I'm treading carefully because I'm just wary that all that strategizing can kind of kill the mojo of a nervous little creator who's just starting to dip her toes. And I don't want to prematurely get to a place where this becomes so overanalyzed. It's a balancing act at the moment of doing research to know how to improve these videos while not getting in the weeds about these details that might end up stripping away the authenticity of the content and the ability to really get to know the creator in its most raw, unadulterated form. And it as maybe I should take a break. Can I take a pause? Maybe don't pause.
This is the shotgun mic.
Test,
audio.
test.
Test your full volume.
Okay, we're back. Oh boy. I wish you guys could have seen what just happened. I got up to take a bio break and a cable got caught in my leg and this whole thing came crashing down. This microphone came down, my laptop came falling. It was a whole commotion. Thomas came running in and now I have this tiny little bruise on my hand. Don't know if you guys can see it. Where was I? Oh yeah. Okay, so we were talking about the YouTube landscape and how it's become more of a commercial business now where everyone's vying for your attention. Things feel more formulaic and that much of what we are seeing are just variations of the same thing packaged differently. But I want to choose to focus on YouTube for the good that it is and the good that it's always been. And one of the many reasons that I love YouTube is that it's the perfect medium for this style of chat. I'm sitting here in my office with a fuzzy blanket and I'm just yapping away at you. I find myself often sitting at nighttime and looking out my window and noticing all these little lights that turn on in the apartment buildings surrounding me and thinking that every single one of those lights, those lit up little squares in a building, is a stranger with a whole experience being lived out in that moment, separate to mine. They're sitting at their dining room, you know, eating a bowl of ramen, petting their little fluffy cat. From their vantage point, I'm a lit up window in their distance. Everything around me feels so real and tangible, and yet to them, I'm a distant little speck, just like they are to me. And the magical thing that YouTube allows us to do is to pluck one of those little windows of light and zoom in and peer right into their existence. I get to join them in their dining room. I get to eat the bowl of ramen with them. It is just the perfect way for a creepy person like me to feel the essence of a stranger's home life. I have this deep curiosity for different types of lives that are lived out there in this world, and it's so fascinating when you're on YouTube to see how disparate these experiences are and how many different flavors life can be experienced, and yet still find these little strings of similarities that make you feel like you're almost living a parallel life to a stranger. I find it so crazy when I find someone else on YouTube that is moving houses at the same time that I am, or someone's discovering a sport the same time I am and falling in love with it, or seeing a YouTuber sing this Chinese song with their dad for karaoke, and it's a song that I grew up with my dad and have this nostalgic attachment to it as well.
For someone who is high-key tone deaf,
I've just always loved YouTube for its portrayals of real stories told by real people, and there's a level of comfort that brings me to hear an old friend that you can flip on at any time. Someone that Thomas and I like to put on in the background when we're doing our works sometimes is the Outdoor Boys. If you guys don't know him, he's an amazing creator and this dad who goes on these fun adventures outside. He goes to visit the Arctic, and we'll just put him on in the background and he's just puttering away, building a little shelter in the middle of nowhere, setting up a fire. His videos are super long, and we'll just leave him on in the background. Feels pretty heckin' great. And so that's one aspect of it, to just be a creeper into someone else's life. And then another aspect is the whole side of education and inspiration. I cannot tell you the amount of times that YouTube has saved me in a pinch. Either my dishwasher is broken, or I have to learn how to paint a wall, patch a hole, figure out all of this stuff that surrounds video production. There's just countless amounts of resources out there. People that are happy to teach for free at your fingertips. So now, having said all of that, what do I hope to bring with this channel? I do believe my competitive advantage is actually what I consider a shortcoming of mine, and that is my intense mediocrity at things, but my willingness to try everything. And in this particular case, in starting this channel, I think this quality of mine is what really helps my overall mission with this channel, which is really to be a leading character on these creative pursuits, that any of you guys watching could know that you don't need any prior experience or technical know-how, and knowing that if this little potato can do it, you can do it too. I'm not saying this to come out as deprecating. This is just full honesty. But I don't esteem myself to be particularly good at any particular thing. What I do have is a quality that anyone can have if they give themselves a chance to build it up. And that is the confidence to be able to figure something out. I'm a huge believer that confidence can be built just by accumulating little wins under your belt. So every time you feel a little glimpse of success or taste that little sliver of victory, that is all fuel that'll make you believe in yourself all the harder for the next mission or the next adventure you want to take. I have this light bar that is lighting up my face, and I keep staring at it while I'm filming, and it's giving me a bit of a headache. Woo! For the rest of this segment, I am going to record this with my eyes closed. I hope y'all don't mind. I'm seeing spots. Currently, my channel is focusing on doing small little home makeovers or little DIYs for friends, and every single thing I'm doing in every single one of these videos is new to me, and I'm not really sure how it's gonna turn out. Having just moved into this space with Thomas, my number one goal is to gradually get it to a state that feels delightful for both of us. So I want to take you all on that journey and share that process with you, and share it in a way that empowers you to take any nook of your space and know that in order to transform it, you don't need a huge budget, you don't need a design eye, you just need to trust your instincts and give it a little bit of trial and error. And one thing that I'll touch on a lot is how important it is to cultivate a surrounding space that is nurturing and that brings you joy and comfort throughout your day to day. I believe that a space can change your habits. I believe a good space can change your routine. A beautiful space does wonders for your mood. Whew, I think I've been rambling for long enough, but I think I want to close out this video by answering a question that I've gotten from some of my close friends who know about this channel. And what they've asked me is, what is my purpose with this channel? What's my ultimate dream? What's my sky's the limit vision for it? I think in order to properly answer that question, I'm going to first take you on a little bit of a tangent. So a while ago, we went to this place for dinner, and it was a last minute, we're feeling hungry, let's find this little place and we'll just feed our tummies. We found our way to this little mom and pop shop. It was this Taiwanese noodle place somewhere in Burnaby. And everything about that experience took me by surprise, and how good the food was, how amazing the service was. And what was shocking to me was the place was empty. It was dead inside, and it was 7 o'clock on a weekday, so dinner time, and it was just dead in there. And the sad part is I had a feeling I knew why it was dead in there. the space just didn't feel like a space you wanted to be in. It was clear that they tried to make an effort to create this little ambiance for its customers, but it wasn't hitting. There was fluorescent lighting. I think I remember these staggered shelves with the logo, and there was a little fake succulent plant on one of the shelves. And I just thought in my head, all this place needed to turn it from this empty zombie land with good food into this place where people would want to go. It's just some TLC and decorating. And the person running the till was just this friendliest guy. And what I really wanted to do right there in that moment was go up to him and say, hey, I would really love to redesign the space for you, pro bono. I don't want to charge you. I just really like to make this space into some place that people want to convene at. I didn't do that because A, I did not yet have the confidence to take on a public space like that. I have some Delulu. I don't have that much Delulu. And B, it was not something I was going to ask them to pay for because this is something I want to do for them. I feel very lucky that I worked myself to a point where I've saved up a lot financially, whereby I can build this YouTube channel and have like this work-life balance. But I'm not at a place where I can fund all these projects and just do them pro bono yet. The ideal would be to take rec centers, old rundown laundromats, daycares, libraries, any place that needs a little bit of zhuzhing up, and be able to make a makeover, document the makeover, have the monetization from my channel, be able to fund these projects so it'll go full circle. My tech lead and former manager from my work at Unity actually reached out to me after seeing the little mural I did for Thomas's mom's daycare and asked if I would be interested in helping him revamp his office space. And holy smackerel, that is exactly the kind of thing I want to do. But I don't want to do it before I get enough wins under my belt and I'm confident enough to do a job that is professional enough to be in someone else's home that they are going to be existing in. Yeah, it's one thing to fail and do trial and error at your own home and make little mess ups that you can live with in your own home. Fact of the matter is, it's not looking good. And it's a completely other thing to do that to my tech lead. So my goal is for that project to be something that I can tackle down the line, and I really want to do that for him. And in the meantime, everything that I'm going to work on in this channel is building up those small little wins so I can go from relying on my instinct to create an office nook like this for me and my partner into doing something that's for another human being. But all this is to answer the question of where I want this YouTube channel to take me to, and that noodle shop is the answer. That is what I want to eventually work myself towards doing. But to wrap up, thank you all so much for joining me. Honestly, your support means a whole heck of a lot to someone who's put off this dream for so many years and has been nervous about putting themselves on the internet. It really, really makes a huge difference to me every time I hear from you guys, every time I see a new one of you join this community. So many thanks and big hugs. Let me know in the comments if you enjoyed this little chatty yappy video or if you never want me to do something like this again. See you guys on the next one. Bye!